The final whistle has blown at Villa Park. It's finished Aston Villa 1, West Ham United 4. West Ham taking the lead as early as the 7th minute. Ben Johnson cutting inside from the right, receiving the ball from Declan Rice and firing into the bottom left-hand corner of Martinez's net to give West Ham an early lead. Ollie Watkins equalised for Villa on 34 minutes with an effort from around 8 yards with Buendia's assist. West Ham thought we would have a penalty 3 minutes later when Zuma had his shirt pulled in the box, not given. But undeterred, the Hammers went straight back up to the Villa end and restored their lead. Declan Rice firing home from just outside the box into almost exactly the same spot as Johnson scored earlier in the half. 2-1 at half-time, and the game really changed 5 minutes after the restart when Konza saw red for denying a goal-scoring opportunity when Jarrod Bowen was racing away towards goal. 2-1 West Ham. Villa had a really good spell then for about 5 or 10 minutes, put West Ham under a lot of pressure. The Hammers really not coping well with being up against 10 men, but weathered the storm anyway. And then with 10 minutes to go, Pablo Fornals added a third, the decisive goal that really put the game beyond Villa. It was Michail Antonio who was taken out, flicking on the ball on the halfway line. Bowen dashing away towards goal. Great save, actually, from Martinez, but Fornals was able to follow up and put the ball into an empty net. 4 minutes later, West Ham adding a fourth. Jarrod Bowen it was this time. Antonio once again involved, pulled the ball out to Lanzini, cleverly pulled the ball back for Bowen, who had an open goal to roll the ball into to give West Ham a very, very convincing 4-1 win. In the end, Rio, I'll come to you first, as you was just about to come in there. Your initial thoughts on what you've seen this afternoon. Aston Villa 1, West Ham United 4.
It's a weird time to be a West Ham fan, isn't it? We've just won 4-1, with apparently reigning about 20-odd chances away from home. Yeah, I'm not really happy with that performance. I'm absolutely delighted with the result, but the performance left a lot to be desired. We made heavy weather of it. We made 10 men of Villa look, I wouldn't say great because they're not a great side, but we made heavy weather of it and we let them into the game far more than they should have done. I don't know. It's a new wave of West Ham, isn't it? It's really weird to go away from home, win 4-1 and feel a little bit disappointed. We've set such a high benchmark nowadays that performance left a lot to be desired for me. And I'm sure Mr. Moyes and his coaching staff will make the team watch a little bit of the highlights back, analyse the game and say, there's a lot of room for improvement. He said in his pre-match presser that we're not firing on all cylinders, and we certainly weren't today. I feel almost dirty for saying it, but I feel like a new wave modern football fan. We've won 4-1, and yet I'm not happy. So,
okay.
Perhaps someone should slap me around the face until me I wake up.
I get you, man. That's exactly how I feel about it. It's like we just won 4-1 and we were pretty shit we were pretty awful for the most part. It's just like mind-boggling. Absolutely mind-boggling.
Yeah, it's a strange one, isn't it, Nick? You look at the result, we smashed them off the park 4-1, but wasn't that sort of game at all, was it really?
No, it weren't. And that's, I suppose in a way it could be what's actually quite frightening, because we will play extremely well and we are someone who's going to get an absolute hiding off us this season. Yeah. And I mean a proper hiding, like for 5-6-7-0, I think. Wow. What a time to be an Emma. I'm just totally perplexed by that game. It's a bit like, you know, when we've had it many times in the past, where we play teams off the park and we've ended up losing 1-0. Yep. It's a similar sort of bewilderment to that, but the other way around. Yeah,
it's like in reverse. Yeah. Okay. No, Aston Villa 1, West Ham United 4. You know, the chaps have said it there, haven't they? It didn't feel like a 4-1, did it? Well, until the final 5 minutes, of course, when it obviously.
I'm going to buck the trend a little bit here because.
Okay.
I take the point that we played better this season. We weren't at our best. That's fine, but think back, and did we really? Did Villa really test us? Once the Fabianski save onto the bar, fine.
Yeah.
But after that, I'm struggling to remember him touching the ball. And, you know, it was, you could say that for spells, for 10, 15 minutes after the sending off, we were foot off the pedal. I thought Villa were dreadful. They really didn't. If it wasn't going out for a throw in with Cash lobbing into the box, they didn't really have any clue as to how they might take us apart. I will say, we didn't play as good as we can do.
Yeah.
But I think particularly Rio sort of made it sound like we were a bit under the cosh to Villa, which we really weren't. I thought Villa were one of the dirtiest sides I've seen in a long while, and I thought we coped and we kept our heads well with that. Apart from that thing where Fornals went in and there was a lot of handbags. A lot of that was a result of I'm not sure who the number 19 was, who was the other end of that challenge, but there was obvious Villa were trying to get Fornals sent off, and I don't know what the record for the number of rolling overs is, but he was certainly out having a go at it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So, it was. Yeah, we didn't play as great as we can. We didn't have to though. And as Nick said earlier on, I've seen us play dozens of games, hundreds of games over the years where, we've been sucker punched out of a game, and I didn't see that happening today.
Okay.
But,
Good stuff.
no, it was a disciplined performance. It wasn't greatest, but disciplined, and we still won 4-1. So I'm not going to be. I'd be a bit churlish to put much in the way of complaints there. So
that is the point, isn't it? I mean, we've won 4-1. You can't ask for much more away from home. It's never, a bit of a cliche, but Villa Park is never an easy place to go to. But I want to come back to something Gnome just mentioned there, gents, if I may. Talking specifically, quite aptly, I suppose, on today of all days, talking about the dark arts and Villa's propensity to put in a dirty challenge. Nick, they were full of it today, weren't they? I mean, we saw. I mean, clearly, was it Hauser? Sorry, just going back to Hauser, who really should have been sent off prior to the challenge that saw us being awarded that free kick and the red card for who was it? Conza, wasn't it? Who got sent off in the end? Antonio was taken out in the lead up to the third goal. We saw a lot of niggly challenges from Villa. Do you think that's just indication of a team that's sort of feeling the pressure, or what did you make of that? And also, not just that, but talk to me about Villa's tactics today, because I was really surprised at how little they had. No mentioned it once or twice about the long throw, the Delap-esque throw that Matty Cash was, trying to exploit as much as possible. They didn't seem to have an awful lot apart from that, even when they had 11. What did you make of those two things?
It was very much like watching Stoke of the late noughties. It actually was. It was very, very reminiscent, as you say, Rory Delap. Hauser, I think that is an apt name for him, because it was a bit of shithousery from him.
Yes.
On Fornals. No, they were filth, and they could very easily have had more than one player sent off. They could have had 3 players sent off. Simple as that. They could have been. Maybe that's what they were trying to do, but the ref just weren't having it, so that the game gets abandoned. But we should have had the penalty on. This is where we've got to go. It's not just them, by the way. You've got to think of the officials. If the officials weren't letting them get away with it, they probably wouldn't have been doing it quite as often, because we missed the penalty on Zuma, which you could say it was immaterial because we scored 60 seconds later. But that's besides the point. It was another blatant refereeing cock up. Same as the challenge on Fornals. That was absolutely disgraceful that nothing was done about it. Now, I would have taken the free kick there and him to be sent off. Hauser sent off for the foul on Fornals. Should have been bought brought back, even though the advantage was played, the foul on Antonio.
Yep.
Should have been brought back. And the fact that the way their player flopped about like a fish when he collided with Fornals, which led to the handbags. Again, I've just watched the replay of it on Twitter, and it's absolutely shocking. And, you know, these are professional footballers who get paid hundreds of thousands of pounds a month, a week, whatever.
Yep.
And it was disgraceful, the rolling about that they did. You know, Fornals has got a smack in the jaw and he's just laid there and then got up and ended up scoring a goal.
Mm-hmm.
But their players, whenever they were touched, it's from the Jack Grealish school of rolling about, I think. But unfortunately, they ain't got the talent to back it up. I hope that they end up imploding and they go down, because there's no room for that kind of thuggery anti-football in the Premier League.
Okay, we are just seeing Ben Johnson and Declan Rice being interviewed. Gnome's, I think he's going to, there's the thumbs up. Gnome's going to listen to that for us and tell us what the two guys say. We just saw a few moments ago while Nick was talking there, Declan Rice going over and acknowledging the away support. Just looks like he's absolutely loving life. But while we're waiting for that to come in, Rio, what did you make of Villa's approach to the game, tactical approach that, you know, as I said, the sort of attempt to master the dark arts in a way?
Absolutely shocking, to be honest. And a couple of them challenges, particularly the one on Fornals, which was completely disregarded by VAR.
Yeah.
That was blatant assault.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was an absolute deliberate attempt to forearm smash our player, and it's been completely disregarded. But despite all that, throughout the game, it's niggly, horrible, cynical at times. I thought Brentford probably the worst team I've seen in terms of dark hearts we've seen so far this season. But Villa took that to another level, but we've added physicality and, as I said, like borderline assault at times. They made a big call today dropping Tyrone Mings, who represents England. And when he comes away as probably the least cynical defender we've seen on the Villa side today, it's a pretty shocking statement on the way that they're being coached at the moment, because it was absolutely horrendous at times. And as Nick said, there could have been easily 2 or 3 red cards for them today.
Do you think Dean Smith's in trouble up there?
Before about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I thought we would have been one of the safest managers in the whole country. But the performance at Arsenal was absolutely shocking, and that's when I first heard grumblings from the Villa fans about the way he's operating at the moment. Obviously, conceding those 2 late goals to Wolves has made the Villa support pass the shovels around. And I think the graves are being dug, because after today, they offer nothing in the footballing sense. It was all physicality, route one, dark arts. As I said, it wasn't a great advert for the Premier League, because we almost stooped to their level at times, not in terms of the physical aspects, but in the terms of not being able to string 3 or 4 passes together at times. And it wasn't a great advert. Until we notched that third, we didn't play a lot of football at all. It just wasn't a great game from a visual spectator's point of view.
Yeah, you sort of wonder from a Villa fan's perspective. I mean, it must be hard going, up there at Villa Park so far this season. Not really managed to, they've lost Jack Grealish. Spent the money on a few players, but it hasn't really paid off for them so far, has it? Nick, Villa 15th in the table, 10 points from 10 games. Still, they're only 3 points above that relegation zone. Do you think, think they might roll the dice there if, maybe they fail to win the next 2 or 3? Or do you think it's a bit early to consider Dean Smith's position there?
No, I mean, if they pick up points the way, so they're averaging a point a game at the moment. They have had some tricky fixtures. I mean, they've just played us, so that's another one that they've had. I don't think they'll roll the dice. I got it completely wrong, because I was tipping them to do really quite well this season. I thought that they would show that they were more than a one-man team.
Yeah.
when Grealish went, and I thought that they'd invested the money quite well. So it's not actually clicking for them. I think that the manager has got a lot to do with the directness, let's say, the Stoke City Mark II. And I think it'll probably be on that basis that if he does go, that'll be the reason, not so much the results. Because they should be doing better than they are with the squad they've got.
Some of their parts,
in my opinion. But a bit like Nuno at Tottenham, some don't fit, and I suppose to a lesser degree Solskjaer. The longer these misfiring managers stay at their clubs, the better it is for us, because we're settled and we're winning games 4-1 without playing particularly well. So roll on. Who we got next? We've got Vienna next, is it, or? I'm not sure. Is it Thursday?
We're off to Belgium, aren't we?
Away to Genk. That's it. So, just bring on the next game. I'm not fussed about Villa anymore. We've quite clearly showed our class against them. We didn't have to get out of second gear. We played pretty badly in it. It was sloppy. A lot of misplaced passes. Even Declan made a few today. But, in the forums, people have said that's the sign of a good team. We didn't play well, and yet we won out. Somebody also said it was the second worst performance we've had since after Southampton, and I'm inclined to agree. And yet, West Ham 4, Villa 1. It's just mental.
Exactly. It's the mark of a good side, isn't it? If you can go out and win that comfortably without performing anywhere near your best, then you must be a good side. So good stuff with that. Well, we'll see what develops with Dean Smith there. But I guess it must be tough because last year, I think everything went through Grealish, didn't it? And they've lost him. They've lost their main outlet, and they've really got to develop a new system, and it's clearly not working for them at the moment. But anyway, that's their problem. We don't really care.
But it's going to be the same for any manager that comes in as well. If they don't roll the dice, I can't see who they're going to get anyway. It's the same old adage now. It's only the perennial managers, like Steve Bruce. That are out there, the ones that aren't particularly great managers, but always seem to end up in a top job. I suppose the only other one, like Eddie Howe, I suppose. I think he'd actually be a good fit for Villa. So the longer that they keep Dean Smith, the better. Because someone like Eddie Howe, I think they do very well at a medium-sized club like Villa. So.
Okay, let's not forget Big Sam's still out there, of course. He's a bit of history with the Midlands. You never know. we'll see what happens there. But anyway, Gnome has been listening to the TV for us while we've been chatting away here. Ben Johnson, Declan Rice scored goals 1 and 2 for West Ham this afternoon. They were chatting to to Sky Sports after the game. Gnome, what did the boys have to say?
It was a smashing interview, actually. Two cracking young lads there. We can clear up the goal celebration for Johnson. Apparently, there's video out there on Twitter or Facebook or YouTube or something of him doing some sort of similar celebration when he scored a goal when he was about 14. And this came to light recently, so everybody was giving him pelters about it. And so when he scored, obviously, the first thing he was going to do was that.
Okay.
Declan, and it was again, I guess, a little bit of a reflection of what we've been saying here. He said we won 4-1, but he said, if I'm honest, he said that wasn't good enough. That was a bit sloppy. He said, he said, I know I gave the ball away a couple of times in the second half. He said the manager's not going to be happy about that, and they commented that the manager doesn't want as good as last season. He wants better. And he said, quite right. So we'll be having words about that. But Johnson's very, very happy to be there, and he's chuffed that because he's had his chance, and he's still got the shirt. So he was very happy. And you can imagine it was all it was like Cheshire cat grins on the face. And, so I'm just going back on here now. They're just showing the red card that wasn't and the one that was. And I just cannot see how that one on Fornals was not.
Yeah. Yeah, bizarre decision not to give that. But and of course, let's point out that the two lads who scored the 2 goals, both West Ham Academy graduates, which is wonderful, lovely,
that was
lovely to
mentioned.
see.
I also should add that they paid fulsome tribute to the travelling away support, not just at Villa today, but they say Declan says he loves playing at away grounds because you're getting wins in somebody else's backyard. And then he says you see the corner with all the away supporters, and he said they're terrific. So, yeah.
Great stuff. Great stuff.
Here's food for thought. If we beat Liverpool next week, we go second on merit. We could go second on merit after 11 games of the season.
We'd take that, wouldn't we? Well, we'll come to that in a bit. Actually, we'll look ahead to next week before we wrap up. But just going to come back to today's game briefly. Got a couple of stats and things from social media to read out to you. Did we do the final match stats? I'm not sure we did. No, I don't think we did. So I'll run through those quickly. Possession 42% to Villa, 58% to West Ham, which is a bit of a turnaround because Villa shaded it, didn't they, in the first half? Villa 9 shots with 3 on target. West Ham 21 shots, 9 on target. 3 corners to Villa, 6 to West Ham. So the Hammers clearly superior in the second half, absolutely running the game there. Of course, with the man advantage, it was a little bit easier, but still worked hard. Statman Dave on Twitter says, as well as scoring the opener, Ben Johnson won more tackles, 8 out of 8, and made more interceptions, a total of 4, than any other player on the pitch versus Aston Villa this afternoon. WhoScored.com. Declan Rice's match stats: 3 shots, 1 goal, 2 key passes, 1 assist, 1 dribble, 4 tackles, 2 interceptions, 3 aerial duels, 1, and they gave him a match rating of 9 out of 10. Tony Cottee, the ex-West Ham striker, saying, what a performance from the boys today. A great time to be a West Ham fan right now. And finally, from this section, Opta Joe, also on Twitter, says, West Ham have picked up 20 points after 10 matches this season, 6 wins, 2 draws and 2 defeats. That converting to 3 points per win all time. Only in 1975, 1976 have they earned more points at this stage of a top flight season. That's an incredible statistic. West Ham's, statistically, West Ham's second best season ever at this point. No, that's some going.
It is, yeah. I mean, you know, I'm not a great lover of blandly quoted statistics. I mean, things, but it is good. You can't complain about that.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking statistics there, and it's not like you look at the bland statistics on 21 shots, etc. You know, those ones you just read out. Well, you know, that makes it look a completely different game than the one we've watched.
Yeah, sure.
You don't get any stat on sloppy misplaced passes. They don't show you, sort of thing. Which, I mean, I think we're in danger of coming over hypercritical here. It's but
yeah, I mean, we've won 4-1 at the end of the day. Come on, if you can't enjoy these days.
Yeah. I think when you look at a couple of years ago, I'm just watching that number 19. That's 5 rolls, is it? All else goes in. Let's see. It goes 1, 2, 3.
I did see a post on Twitter actually earlier. Do you remember those flying fish things you used to get in the Christmas crackers?
Yeah, and you just put in your hand, and it's supposed to say you're passionate or something.
Yeah, I thought it was very apt. I thought that was a very good description.
Sorry, but, anyway, I just having spotted that in the background, I had to comment on that. But no, I think it's a measure of how much we've improved in the last 2 years or so.
Yeah.
That we're now looking at a 4-1 win, and instead of going, well, we'll take that, we're going, yeah, it's a 4-1 win, but we could have done better there. Yeah. And it was Bowen shoved the bloke over. Yeah.
It was.
Here we go. 1.
There he goes again. Hey. Oh, and he even does the little flip at the end. I like that. He goes over his head. That's impressive. Impressive stuff. I'm sure that'll end up on some of those comedy compilations that Soccer Aim and people like that put together. Anyway, let's knocked out by the microphone there. Let's push on. Nick, man of the match, please. Who's your today?
Oh, it's hard. Only for the fact of listening to his stats. I'm going to go for young Ben Johnson, his goal, and the stats. I've seen on the forum that people said that apart from his goal, I'm looking at you here, SH. Apart from his goal, he didn't really do much, and then his stats get read out that he was one of the best players on the pitch.
Yeah.
So unlucky to SH. Nice try, mate, but I'm going to disagree with you, and I'm going to have him as my man of the match because he deserves what he deserves it just for that absolutely wonderful little smile of his.
Okay, good stuff. Ben Johnson, of course, maybe a slight surprise for some people to be included in the team today with Vladimir Soufal back, but certainly proving that David Moyes was right to give him the shout. Rio, man of the match for you, buddy.
I'm afraid I'm going to have to go to the usual stock answer of Mr. Declan Rice. It wasn't a vintage performance by anybody out there today, but his stats say it all. Is it first for completed passes, first for advanced runs, first for everything, basically.
Yeah.
And in a poor game of football, he just stood out by a mile. The only person I would have thought came close to him, really, from our point of view, probably Jarrod Bowen. Not that he had a fantastic game, but his work rate, energy, contributing like a couple of the goals, and also shoving John McGinn to the ground like that gives him a bonus point for me.
Okay, Declan Rice it is. Gnome, what do you reckon, man of the match today?
Yeah, I'm going to go for the dull choice, Declan again, because when we were being sloppy, a couple of times you saw him talking to people, and I think he apart from the playing stuff, he's got that captain's role. Come back to me. We've got Mr. Moyes.
Okay, good stuff. My man of the match. I don't know. I'm inclined to go with Nick, actually. I think on this occasion, and go with Ben Johnson. I mean, it was a big ask for him to go out there today, wasn't it? You know, Soufal has been an ever-present in the team since he came, and today I think was the first time that Ben Johnson had been in that side over Soufal on merit. You know, previously the last few weeks he's been there because Soufal's been injured, and I thought he put in a really, really mature performance. Obviously, the goal was fantastic because it set us on our way, coming as it did so early as well. So that was fantastic. And of course, only his second goal in a West Ham shirt for the first team. I thought he was good throughout the game. And I think you're all right. I think it was very hard to pick anyone who really stood out. No one was outstanding, were they today? Everyone, you know, even like Michail Antonio. I think we all sat here criticising, or not criticising, but being slightly critical of for the first 75 minutes or so. Even had a hand in the last two goals, you know. So everyone, and Fabianski didn't have a lot to do, but when we were 2-1 up, made that save from Watkins, I think it was, wasn't he, where he tipped it onto the bar. Could have been a completely different game had that gone in. So every single player on the pitch, Ogbonna also did a really good job at the back, making some really good challenges. Souček was busy today. Still can't get his goal, but worked really hard. So they all had good performances. So I think I'd go with Ben Johnson, just shading it. So 2 shouts for young Ben Johnson and 2 for Declan Rice, and 4 shouts out of 4 for academy players. So brilliant stuff. Great stuff. While Gnome is listening to, it looks like a very, very happy David Moyes on my screen over here. And so he should be, with West Ham getting the 3 points it takes us. So we haven't pointed this out either. West Ham now level 3rd with Manchester City, 20 points from 10 games in the Premier League, 5 points behind runaway leaders at the moment, Chelsea, just 2 points behind Liverpool, who of course we face next week, and we'll be coming to that very, very shortly. Let's have a quick look at the forums before we come back to the game. Rio's been keeping an eye on Knees Up Mother Brown for us, the KUMB.com forum match thread. Rio, what's the general consensus? Does everyone kind of agree with us that, you know, it wasn't the most effective performance, but for 3 points nonetheless?
Yeah, most definitely. Picked out a couple of things which really encapsulate what we've said, and it's the unanimous choice of the whole forum, really. Italian Hammer. Not our greatest performance, but job done in the end, which is perhaps the signs of a good team.
Yeah.
How the hell, though, it's a full-on elbow to the jaw, not a sending off offence. I'm glad we beat them. I hated the antics they employed trying to get Fornell sent off, and I can't stand their manager bitching about every decision that goes against them.
Yeah.
MK Hammer, professional performance, but still room for improvement. And Moyes will pick up on what we need to improve. For me, we need to be tighter in the middle of the defence. Oggy and Zuma weren't quite on it today. Also, we gave away possession too easily at times. Still, it's a great result, and you can only play what's in front of you. Funky Chicken, who, might I add, has started, I think, the last 5 or 6 match threads with exemplary 100% record, so keep on going there. After Southampton, that was probably our worst performance of the season in all the competitions we played, yet we won 4-1. That's a sign of a great team. Our decision-making and passing was utterly abysmal at times, really poor. And it was actually frustrating how much we let Villa keep in the game, as I thought they were absolutely awful. They were there for the taking defensively, but what superb goals from Johnson, Rice, I'm really pleased for Johnson. After a pretty quiet performance from Antonio as well, he truly clicked into gear towards the end of the game, and thanks to his sheer determination, we managed to get our 2 killer goals. We're 4th in the league and still unbeaten on the road heading into November. I'll have some of that. Big car phaser. Villa were lucky not to have another 2 sent off. The rugby tackle on Antonio in the build-up to the last goal was a definite red.
Yep.
They're not even snidey about it. They're absolutely blatant. I thought the 4 at the back had an absolute mare this week. Some real comedy defending. Watkins could be a really good player for us. It's a great result, but not a great performance. But we're flying high. Yeah, and those kind of thoughts and feelings are just flowing for everybody at the moment. Everyone's appreciative of the result, obviously. But the manner of it, no, there is room for improvement. We've got to do a little bit better.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Rio, for that roundup from the KUMB.com forum match thread. Do join us over there after the show here has ended. We'll be going on the forum to add our own thoughts, I'm sure, throughout the rest of the... Well, I was going to say rest of the afternoon. The afternoon has indeed finished now. It's well into the evening. But join us over there a bit later if you fancy a bit of West Ham chat. The first place to go, of course, for your West Ham discussion. I'll just give you a few comments from Villa Talk before we push on, before Gnome brings us news of David Moyes' press conference. Dean Smith getting a lot of flack from Villa fans, not surprisingly after that particular game. Digger Villa saying if this pain of defeat means Smith is gone, then it's well worth it. And Django Zoom's talking already about listing his potential managers' replacements, and he includes John Terry, Frank Lampard in that. So I'm not sure that's going to be particularly good for Villa. I think that they're better off stick with what they've got there. Interestingly, a lot of the Villa, and I'm surprised at this, a lot of the Villa fans are complaining about the referee's performance and saying that they felt they were hard done by. Rich P999 says that Watkins could be shot with a sniper rifle in the box by Moyes and we still wouldn't get a penalty. So it'd be interesting to see what the background to that is. They clearly felt that there was a challenge that they weren't rewarded for, but I'm not sure any of us saw that. Thunderball says, let's be honest, 3 or 4 wins aside, we've been very, very poor since last Christmas. Maybe a change is long overdue. EJ Villa says it doesn't feel like we have a single match winner in the team. We're so average. Whoever controls the transfers is most to blame. If that's Smith, then on his head be it. Hundreds of millions spent and no talisman or game changer. The coaching is also not great, but would any of these players get in West Ham's side today? Beside Martinez, obviously. I'm not sure it's obvious, but there you go. Entitled to their opinion. I don't think so. Rouge, I guess this is a sign of how desperate some Villa fans are, because Rouge Villa says get Steve Bruce back in to stable the ship. I'm not sure that would be welcomed by many. London Lax does kind of not one of those who's going with the referee was awful line, says Hauser should have walked for the elbow. And there was another comment I wanted to bring you, actually. I'm not sure I can find it right now, but Eleni going, but this is going back to the incident, but Eleni saying how his cons are off. He has sent the wrong player off. And that was in reaction to the game. And Dave R talking about that incident towards the end there. So it's not okay for Konza to tug a goddamn shirt, and it's all okay to need Nakamba with studs showing in the balls. He's got very big balls if he was kicked there, that's for sure, because he was clutching his upper thigh. And okay for Bowen to come flying in and send a Villa player flying, pushing him. That's the message I'm getting here. This is plain rubbish. Okay. John O62, bye-bye Smith. Nice knowing you. Forever Young. I'm not blaming Smith in this one. Dodgy referees yet again was expected. Anyway, he must be fuming. Next game will define it. So there are. I mean, again, Spoonie. The refereeing has been awful, but this isn't on the refereeing. I guess I'll be inclined to agree to a sense that the refereeing was awful because they should have been penalised a lot more than they were. But anyway, let's push on now. That's the Villa view. Obviously, a lot of very, very unhappy supporters up there in the Midlands, as you would expect, after being comfortably beaten by West Ham. No, David Moyes has been speaking.
Yeah, very happy with the result. You'll see a theme developing. We could have been better. There were a couple of bits where our passing wasn't as crisp and as precise as we'd have liked, but we'll work on that. And the comment was that I want West Ham to be. I don't want West Ham to be as inconsistent and flaky as people might remember West Ham in the past.
Yeah.
And he said, I'm hoping that we're doing that. But and the interviewer said, you've had a great week, haven't you? And he said, yeah. He said it's been a good week, but he said, we'll approach this without thinking about that because football can quite easily come up, and his words were, bite you on the bum. So he's taking his usual level-headed approach to all this. Pleased with the result, can do better. Okay,
excellent stuff. I'm delighted. I mean, we're going to have to wrap up fairly soon, but I'm really pleased that we've managed to get the Pink Palermo on the stream before we wrap up this afternoon. Pinky, of course, was one of our number who was at Villa Park this afternoon to watch West Ham comfortably beat Aston Villa 4-1. Pinky, good to see you, buddy. How are you?
Yeah, good afternoon, Graham. I'm good, but I have to say, I think the 4-1 score flattered us a touch today. I think we were not anywhere near our best today. I think we were, particularly in the front four, for much of the game. I thought we were flat. I thought we lacked any kind of incision for much of the game. Obviously, when they went down to 10 men and we made a few changes, I think we overran them in the end. But it was one of those games where you say the result was better than the performance. And with the fixture calendar as it is, I think we've just got to accept it's not going to be champagne football every single week. But having said all of that, 4-1 away at Villa Park, thank you very much. I'll have some of that.
Yeah, so it certainly doesn't happen often. I mean, it's interesting that essentially what you've said there echoes what we've been saying since the final whistle, is that none of us felt West Ham play particularly well, but here we are walking away from Villa Park with a really, really handsome win on our hands. Nice to see Declan Rice acknowledge the. I mean, I know they do it every week, but he came up to you guys, didn't he, after the game, and what did you make of that?
Yeah, I mean, he's playing with a smile on his face, and I genuinely think he loves playing for West Ham United.
Yeah,
I really do, and I'll be honest with you, I would be very confident of him signing another deal. I really would be. I think the news that we've heard this week from the Czech fella is a bit of a game changer, because ultimately, if you look around the Premier League at the minute, yes, there's the obvious choice you can make in Chelsea Football Club.
Yeah.
But you end up playing for a different manager every 15 months there. That's going to happen. And I'm not sure he really wants that, because for all the talk about him and Mason Mount being best buddies, let's not forget that Chelsea were happy to let him go.
Yeah.
We were the club that said, we want you, Declan. So, come and join us. So, I think he's really enjoying it. I mean, what's that? Something like, 16 games without an away defeat, something like that now.
Yeah.
Sitting fourth in the Premier League.
Yep.
Just level on points with Man City after 10 games, topping our group in the Europa League. Why wouldn't he be playing with a smile on his face? I think every single West Ham United player should be playing with a smile on their face at the minute. I think it's good. We've got a settled team. we're doing okay.
Okay, good stuff.
Thank you.
I'm going to go around the group quickly. I just want a very quick answer from everybody. Declan Rice, is he going to be here next year, Nick?
Yeah, I said I was just going to bring Pinky in for what he put him up. What he said there is it pretty much echoes what I said during the game. That I think now we're going to see Rice here for at least another couple of years with the direction that we go in, with the squad cohesion, the atmosphere, the new investment coming in. I certainly didn't feel that at the start of the season.
Okay.
But I can only echo again what I said earlier and what Pinky said. Why would he want to leave now? We're a club on the up. And that's not being arrogant about it. That's blatant facts. We've got this Czech guy coming in. We're sitting pretty fourth in the league. If we get a result against, a 3-point result against Liverpool next week, we could quite conceivably, after 11 games in the season, be sitting second in the Premier League on merit. Totally on merit, not because we've not faced anyone big or whatever, because we've earned it. We've got the points. It's not like we were top of the season at the top of the league at the start of the season because it was 3 games in or whatever. 11 games. The season and the table starting to unravel. Okay. And why wouldn't a player of Declan Rice's ability want to be part of the direction we're going, especially, again, as Pinky said, that we're the ones that got his career back on track. And in a way, I suppose he's kind of indebted to us for that. We're the ones that have made him into as well as his own dedication, obviously. But we're the club that's given him the chance. So we're going in the right direction. Okay. I can see no reason for at least a couple of years for Declan Rice to leave the club. So we need to time down now to a 3-4 year contract. ASAP.
Excellent. Okay, thank you. Nick, Rio, what do you make of this? Declan Rice to stay at West Ham for at least one more season?
I completely agree with Nick. Why would you want to leave us? No, it's not harmed his international pedigree. Yep. He's actually burgeoning with it. Why would you jump ship to join a club just because they got a so-called bigger and better support in terms of financial implications, in terms of getting Champions League football and playing at that shambles of a tournament until we actually join it ourselves?
Yep.
Why would you jump ship and join a team where if you don't settle in and don't hit the ground running, you might find yourself out of the first team picture? Mm-hmm. Stick where you are. We're a club on the up. We've proved that last season's performance wasn't a one-off. It wasn't a flash in the pan. We're building something incredibly special here. Declan Rice is going to be the focal point of that. Mm-hmm. Do not leave. It will jeopardise your pedigree and potential, possibly.
Okay, good stuff. Unanimous so far. Gordon, Rice to extend his stay? I mean, of course, he's contracted for another 3 years, but, the talk was that he's likely to leave this year. What do you make of
that? The question that's been asked is, why would you want to leave? Which you probably wouldn't. However, if you ask a different question, and given our owners, why would you want to sell? That's a different question. I think that he'll probably stay this season and he'll see where we are probably towards the end of next season. But I think that's about it. I don't think it'll be another 3 or 4 seasons.
Okay.
With the current owners, of course,
Yeah. All right, excellent. Thank you, chaps. Moving swiftly on, we've touched on it a couple of times briefly, but obviously the big news this week coming out of West Ham is the story that was broken by the Athletics' Matt Slater, friend of the show, of course, who has been on the Mod Pod, our podcast before, to say that Czech billionaire Daniel Kretinsky is ready to buy a 27% stake in the club. That is, of course, an initial stake. The view is that he will go on to take full control potentially. Pinky, your view on this one, Kretinsky. We've been linked with 2 or 3 different consortiums or groups in recent years. What do you know about Kretinsky, and do you think this will be a good move for West Ham?
I think it'll be good in the sense of I can scarcely say I want the current owners out and then get too picky about who comes in. You know, if someone turns up and says we're going to take 27% of the shares as an initial investment, that's a substantial investment. That isn't one that's just putting a few quid in for a kind of a bed and breakfast deal. That's serious money going in.
Yeah.
Sadly, not into West Ham. That's serious money going into the pockets of David Gold and David Sullivan, presumably. Certainly one of them. It might just be Mr. Gold shares. So that's kind of like I'd like to understand whose shares he's taking is the first thing. But in terms of, is he good for West Ham United? I'd like to know rather more about the initial source of his wealth and how he got so wealthy so quickly, so relatively young, because it has a whiff of kind of like the Abramovich feel about it. State energy assets being sold off at rather below market price. Then a separation from a business partner. You know, it's almost an identikit of what went on with Abramovich in Russia. And you know, is it for us to really push, you know, the Czech government for whether or not they got fair value for their assets? You could argue the same when Maggie sold off BT. You know, was it a fair price? None of us will ever know, because I seem to recall the shares and that going through the roof the next day. So that would suggest that when we sold BT, it was underpriced. So, you know, it's a difficult one, but as long as he comes through with a reasonably clean bill of health there, and there's nothing too dodgy about it, why shouldn't we welcome it? The one caveat I put in that is I'll just remind everybody, all of this money goes into the pockets of existing shareholders. It doesn't go into the manager's transfer kitty. Now, if he wanted to make himself truly popular with West Ham United supporters, by all means give Mr. Gold and Mr. Sullivan money for their shares, but also why not just announce very clearly he will provide an X £million transfer kitty for Mr. Moyes to spend in January for an interest-free loan to the club. Okay, he could do that. Now, if he did that, that would be a statement of intent, which I think would suddenly say, A, he's serious, and B, the football club and the football team get some benefit out of a change in ownership, because that's really what we're interested in, is some investment in the playing staff, not just chuck money at it willy-nilly, but sensible, structured investment that allows us to compete at the end of the table where we now find ourselves. And if he does that, I think it'd be very good for West Ham.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. Rio, it's kind of come out of nowhere, this story, hasn't it? I mean, in terms of, you know, being publicised. I mean, it's said that this one's been worked on for a few months now, which, you know, it kind of makes you wonder what the PIA thing was all about. But what's your view on what little, admittedly, that we all know about this guy? I mean, do you think this is the right one at last for West Ham?
I think Pinky's put it more eloquently and more succinctly than I can possibly do. I'm always going to approach any new investment, anything that eradicates the club of our current owners, with a favourable hat. I just hope that due diligence is done by our owners, which I can't see. I just think they're happy to make a quick buck out of it. I think they've had enough of the constant criticism that is coming their way. But despite the fact that on the pitch, everything is going incredibly well and better than anyone could ever possibly imagine.
Yeah.
It's rather a fortunate kind of thing rather than a constructed and planned thing by Gold and Sullivan. There are some questions regarding a potential new investor. I know I think he's got a rather large share in Slavia Prague, I believe. So I think European rules decree that should he actually wish to take over us, he'd have to sell off his assets there.
I think he's within the range. I'm not quite sure. I think it's 40-50%. I stand to be corrected on that, but I do believe
he doesn't have a controlling stake, does he?
Yeah, that's
it. They don't apply.
his level of investment in Prague wouldn't negate the possibility of him taking out that. If he was to take control of West Ham, I think it's slightly different, but certainly the 27%, I believe, and as I say, I stand to be corrected. I think that's okay. Fine. But
yeah, it's exciting times for a West Ham fan, isn't it? On the pitch, everything is going absolutely fantastically.
Yeah.
Off the pitch, new investment to augment that. You know, if everything comes to fruition regarding the takeover and potential investment, the figures being spoken about in the hands of the right manager, which we've got at the moment. We've got a new head of recruitment as well to augment him. No? Why wouldn't you be excited by it? The reign of Golden Sullivan really does need to come to an end, and come to an end sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
Let's just hope that this guy is everything that we hope, because we've been mucked about from a managerial ownership point of view for far too long. We really do need someone to take over, steady the ship, and guide us in the right direction off the pitch. Yeah. Because on the pitch, everything is going 100% spot on.
Okay, thank you, Rio. Nick, bring you in on this one, because you've been quite vocal on the KUMB.com forum in the last 24 hours, earlier today, I think it was, speaking. I suppose you've been arguing, in a sense, against those who feel that, Golden Sullivan should take no credit whatsoever for what's been happening at West Ham. Now, I know you're still in favour of replacing them, but given the fact that everything's going so well on the pitch, do you think this is a good time to potentially rock the boat?
I don't think the way I understand that this is structured of only 27%. I don't think it's going to rock the boat too much. If it was a complete and utter overhaul, I'd start getting the jitters about them wanting to bring their own man in and replacing Moyes and stuff like that. But it's not. This is just for just over a quarter of the club, and initially with a view to make it permanent. Mm-hmm. Now it's a bit like, I know it's obviously we're talking different sized clubs entirely. I guess it's kind of like when the Glazers took over Man United. They just took it over and they let everything continue. They kept Ferguson on, etc., etc. And I'd like to think that if this level of success and more, possibly even more, let's be realistic. I don't think that we have reached our peak yet, even with what we've got, because we've still got a January transfer window to come yet, and the potential to strengthen, and who knows where we might go this season. Mm-hmm. With a view to them by 2023 taking over, I think this is actually doing it over a longer term is actually good for a transition for the club rather than a complete 100% buyout, because sometimes change isn't always for the better. Mm-hmm. I have been reading up online about this chap. He does seem to have hedged his bets and invested in places where others didn't, and he has made a lot of money out the Czech state. Now, whether that's by nefarious means or whether it's just by investing in a sector that nobody else was, is basically what I'm understanding from it. That he's like Eskimos investing in ice kind of thing. Or what are they doing that for? But that's what he's done, and it's worked out for him, especially now with the gas shortages and things like that, and the value of these coal-fired places are going up again, and he's making more money for it. The other thing as well was quite interesting. You've got to remember, we've also got a massive fan based in London, the Czech ambassador as well. Yes. And I do sort of think, has he actually made moves here? Is he been part of this? Because he's even on his Twitter bio, he's got the hammers, and I've got no objection to the Czech connection. No potential new owners are going to be squeaky clean. Not one. It's as simple as that. I don't think in this day and age, somebody who is a billionaire that is going to invest in a football club, he would have made every last one of their pennies via completely clean means. That it would be foolish and naive to think otherwise. Mm-hmm. The other thing that fills me a bit more with confidence with him is on more than one article by various journalists, I've seen them say he's a football man. which to me matters quite a lot. He's not a property investor like PAI was. He's not pornographers like our current owners are. He's also a football man. He's got experience of having his 40% stake in, is it Sparta or Slavia? Somebody said Slavia, but I think it's Sparta.
Yeah, Sparta's his current club.
Slavia is where we got our Czech boys from, wasn't it?
That's correct, yeah.
So, yeah, I had bad vibes about PAI. They didn't exactly fill me with confidence, and you go with your gut feeling, and I think that he may well be the right man to come on board, and eventually him and whoever his business partners are take us over. Don't forget as well is that his partner has just inherited something like 15 billion as well, sadly through the death of her father, who's the Czech Republic's richest man.
Yeah. Could be handy, yeah.
Does she have a sister?
We'll let you know, Pinky. We'll put the
have you seen his sister's thighs, mate?
Oh yeah, I'll take one for the team.
All right. Great stuff. Thank you, Nick, for that. No. Kretinsky, described by a Czech media outlet, Kafka Desk, as a discreet and mysterious man who shows little himself, speaks little, but goes very fast. He's had a rapid rise, to prominence and huge wealth, but been accused of being one of the largest polluters on the European continent, also linked with the Russian state and President Putin. Is it the case that, anyone with that kind of wealth just simply can't be squeaky clean? And, you've got to accept that if you're going to bring people with vast amounts of resources and wealth behind them into the club?
I'm just thinking last time a Czech newspaper owner tried to get involved in football, and that didn't end particularly well, did it? It's because he's got newspapers amongst the other stuff. I think the whole concept of fit and proper is completely discredited now, isn't it? I mean, it was never the most robust of tests in the first place. I mean, let's put it this way, without pointing a finger at him, the conflicts that ended up with Abramovich having all his money had people dying in them. It was sort of like the Wild West. Yeah. Now, whether or not Abramovich was actually involved in any of the shenanigans there, I wouldn't like to say. However, he's the one who ended up with all the money. So, I mean, Manchester City, Newcastle, both have got. I think the most naive thing I've ever heard was the comment from the LGBT group of Newcastle supporters, who were hopeful that maybe they could have a positive influence on the Saudis. Yeah. Yes. Good luck with that one. Mr. British. I thought that was the most naive thing I've ever heard. I really do. I haven't really sort of done an awful lot of looking at his background for various reasons. This week's been a bit of a mare for me, but I'd love to know a bit more about him. I really, really would. Okay. He's got all sorts of. He owns 3% of Sainsbury's. So perhaps I shouldn't talk out to because my little brother works for them. So, but Foot Locker, I think he's his biggest shareholder in Foot Locker, or individual shareholder in Foot Locker. So, if you buy your expensive blingy trainers from them, then maybe you'll be supporting the club in some small way. But,
potentially.
I'd like to know a lot more. As I say, I'm not as up to date with this as everybody else because I've been a bit tied up this week with various things. Okay. So
lucky you.
Yeah, well, I'm sure more will come
out.
Not really,
not really, mate.
I guess we'll find out more about Mr. Kretinsky is in the coming weeks and months, because it certainly seems like a deal is about to happen. And we watch this space. Really, we'll certainly endeavour to bring you all the latest via KUMB.com as always. Thank you, gentlemen, for your comments on that. We are going to wrap up now, but before we do, as is customary on our post-match review, we're going to take a look ahead to our next outing, which the games are coming thick and fast, aren't they, gentlemen? You know, there's no time to breathe at the moment, apart from the international break. It's only 4 more days until we're on our way to Belgium for our next fixture, which is the reverse fixture against Genk. We obviously beat them comfortably 3-0 at the London Olympic Stadium on the 21st of October. We're back out there, and we're pretty sure that, you know, if we win this one, that's the group wrapped up. I think, Rio, is that your view on that? And you know, how do you think we'll fare over there?
Yeah, I think a victory is going to guarantee us the basically top spot. We saw what they did to us in the first half. We was a little bit lax, but they're a very one-dimensional side, Genk. I can't see any issues. Our second string is doing us absolutely proud. So, yeah, I'm expecting not a thumping victory, but I think a 1-0, 2-0 win over at Genk. And, next round beckons. I think if the other two sides draw and we win, that's it. We're through.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, would be good. Very, very quickly, because time is pushing on. We're back in the Premier League at the weekend. 3 days later, should I say. Home to Liverpool, big game. And as Nick has rightly pointed out, if we win that one, we can go second in the Premier League potentially.
That's to me, mate.
Sorry, mate. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
No.
What do you? I mean, it's a completely. Normally at Liverpool at home, we're kind of concerned, but this is a different West Ham. I'll be honest with you. I really don't know what to expect from this game. I haven't got a clue.
I'm a little bit apprehensive about the visit to Liverpool, to be honest. They've got Van Dijk back now. They're not as suspect at the back, although Brighton did exploit it a couple of times yesterday and very unlucky not to pick up all 3 points.
Yeah.
But, you know, Liverpool, always one of those sides where we haven't got a very good record against.
Mm-hmm.
They're packed full of quality. They're going to have that extra day's rest for them, I think will play a big factor.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm a little bit apprehensive purely because of the quality Liverpool have, but also we're playing on the Thursday night. We've seen a couple of times this season already that a poorer results have come after European exertions.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be on the negative side. I don't expect a lot out of it. You know, anything that we pick up is a bonus. Okay.
Very quickly, give me your expected results for those 2 games in win, lose or draw against Genk, win, lose or draw against Liverpool.
I'm going to say a 1-0 win against Genk. Liverpool, I think we'll probably lose 2-0.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you, Rio. And as always, for your contributions throughout the afternoon. Nick, Genk, Thursday night, we're off for our second trip abroad in the Europa League, a game that could wrap up the group for us. And then Liverpool on Sunday. What's your view on those 2 games?
Genk, I think we'll get something out of, and I think that will be us qualified, as good as qualified for the group, for the knockout stages.
Yeah.
Liverpool... Liverpool. I am going to stick my neck out. I think it's going to be a backs to the wall. We're not going to keep a clean sheet, but Antonio loves a goal against them, so that's 1 goal. It's just whoever's going to score the second goal. Keep Salah quiet. Do what we did with Grealish. I think may not be a bad idea, and double up on him. Why can't we get it? Why not? Yeah, why not? Sod it. We're going to win that and all and go second.
2 wins for you then. 2 wins out of 2.
Just rewinding. I've spotted on their YouTube channel about his potential investor. This is for Pinky, but obviously he can't read the comments. David O'Rourke has said you need to do your research and investment, Pinky, and I'm getting this doesn't mean anything by that. Is that he's an astute investor who has invested most of his concerns in the UK and Germany, and he's only invested in power stations and coal mines in Germany and not the Czech Republic.
Pinky, do you want to answer that briefly?
Did he not make his initial money something to do with the Czech power network? I need to look up on him. I mean, to be frank, I'm not really bothered. My central question, my point remains valid. How does someone come from nowhere to make that much money that quickly? Yeah. Because that tends to imply you've had somebody over at some point or got extremely lucky. Okay. And I'd just like to know which one it is, because is it another Abramovich? Was it just a guy that's played his whatever cards he had? Has he just played them particularly well? If he has, hats off to the fella. But you know, at the end
We shall
of the day,
find out in due course,
you know,
of course.
we will do, but you know, let's not kid ourselves what's going on here. There's an element of people in carbon fuel industries moving into the much healthier, positive image of the Premier League. Yeah. And you know, so in the sense, it's no different to what the Saudis are doing, no different to what the man in Dubai has done with Manchester City. It's no different to what the Qataris are doing with PSG. They're trying to develop other revenue streams in cleaner industries as such. You know, the irony, of course, being, you know, in this country is probably the Premier League. So their act up from carbon fuels into going into the Premier League. Good luck with that. But moving on to the two games, if I may. Genk,
yes.
I think will absolutely, Genk, I think will stuff on Thursday. I think that'll be a comfortable 3-0 win for us. I think Genk are the classic thing that just happy to be in the same competition year after year, you know, and you know, jobs are good. Liverpool will be a much tougher game, obviously, with playing Thursday than having to play again on Sunday. But I just got a sneaking feeling we might have just enough to take at least a point from that game, and you never know, we may even get all three. You know, we need some good fortune to do it, because I saw some tired legs out there today, you know, and worse than that, tired minds. But if we have genuine aspirations to be a club that is on the up, eventually you've got to say, just accepting defeat at home against Liverpool before you actually kick off is not an acceptable attitude for either a player, a manager, or a supporter. We had that under, you know, a manager not so many years ago, where we're just throwing games before a ball had been kicked. I'm delighted to say we appear to have moved away from that sort of attitude, and Sunday might just be the day that we put a real marker down that says, do you know what? We're comfortably in the top four. We're beating top four opposition, albeit Man City in a cup competition. If we can then go ahead and beat Liverpool on Sunday, it might just encourage somebody that's buying some shares in the club to just say, and do you know what? I'll stick some money in now as an interest-free loan. And give the manager his transfer kitty for January, and let's see what we can go and do then. Because, you know, this might be the season, just might sneak into that top four. Spurs are a mess. Leicester, I think, are below par. You know, Ollie's at the wheel. I mean, we'll never have a better chance. You know, Everton, not in all cylinders under Rafa. So I think that fourth spot is up for grabs. And if we want it, go and beat Liverpool.
Go and take
if we
it.
beat
Go
Liverpool,
and take it.
I think that's a real marker.
Okay. Well, I'm going to put you down as a win for that one then, Pinky. I think that's where you're going with what you're saying. Basically. So that's thank you for that. Gnome, finally, Genk Thursday, Liverpool Sunday. Now, you know, of course, we've beaten Tottenham, we've beaten Manchester United, we've beaten Manchester City. But the two Manchester games were obviously against slightly weaker teams in the cup. And of course, you know, it's got to be pointed out that we also fielded a weaker side in both of those games. But big test for David Moyes, the latest big test. I mean, we seem to say this every other week, don't we? That, you know, this is a big test for West Ham, but this really is a big test. If we can go out there and match, or even, you know, let's hope beat Liverpool, it really says something. So your view on those two, please.
I think we'll stick our sort of Euro 11 out there. We'll win. Just be, it won't be that sort of spectacular. I think 2-0 we'll win there. Liverpool, slightly concerned that we haven't had Mike Dean refereeing yet, and we all know how referees love to give Liverpool a break over the years against us. I've got it in my head we're going to draw that one 2-2. But yeah, we need an honest ref for that one. And or at least a competent one, as we see today. It's they do get favoured, don't they?
Okay, so a win and a draw for you.
Yeah.
Overall, excellent. Okay, well, I think I'm going to go with exactly what Gnome said. I can't see us getting anything other than the win against Genk on Thursday. But we're far too strong for. Even though we started quite poorly, didn't we? They had the early goal ruled out, and then they had that little spell at the start of the second half where they looked good. But I think we were comfortably a far better team overall. So I go with the rest of the guys. I think that's 5 out of 5 for a win. But Liverpool, I'm with Gnome. I can see. Yeah, it's always the way, isn't it? This is the problem. You always get a dodgy referee, or at least one dodgy refereeing decision against these teams. Always seems to come back and bite us in the backside, and you can't sort of see anything other than that happening really at some stage during the game. So I'll go for a draw. I think we can take an honourable point, and I think that's what it will be against Liverpool. So that's what have we got there? We've got two draws, myself and Gnome. Rio, not sure we're going to get anything from the game, and Nick and Pinky going for a win. So yeah, we'll see. One of us is going to be right. That's for sure next weekend. But anyway, that's just about it for us today. From myself, from my team, my thanks to Gnome. To Rio, to Nick, and to Pinky for joining us on the stream, especially Pinky, who's rushed straight out of the stadium to join us here and offer us his thoughts on what he's seen this afternoon. And what we have seen this afternoon was a very, very comfortable win in the end for West Ham. Aston Villa 1, West Ham United 4. The Hammers up to, or still fourth in the Premier League, but level on points with Manchester City. Who thought we'd be saying that after 10 games? Level on points with a hugely expensive side such as Man City. But that's where we are. As we said earlier, West Ham United's second best start ever to a top flight season, only bettered in 75-76. Now, remind me, what happened in 1976, chaps? Where did we end that season in Europe? I believe we ended up in a European final, didn't we? All right, it didn't end particularly well, but we got there. So who knows? Perhaps history could be about to repeat ourselves.
I prefer a better second half to the league season as well, though.
Well, true, and at least Frank Lampard won't be playing at left back to make a dodgy back pass if we do get to the final. But our thanks also to everyone, to all of you who've joined us on the live stream. Thank you. As always, we've enjoyed your company. It is Halloween, in case you hadn't noticed, and it's been a spooktacularly excellent performance by West Ham on the road once again. We shall be back on Thursday night for Genk versus West Ham United, another foray into the Europa League. Until then, take care, everyone. Come on, you Irons.
Right, so we're here in the offices of a Late Late Show with the host of a Late Late Show, James Corden.
Hi.
Big West Ham fan.
Yes. And big knees up Mother Brown, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm regularly on the general discussion page. There's always someone who's got some information, so I love it. Yeah, it's great. Yes, it's excitement surrounded by imminent disappointment. That's what it mostly is.
Get on the forum at kumb.com. Come on, you Irons.